by the same token, as a yoga teacher, I didn't really talk much about being a psychologist, because as a yoga teacher when I started, you were only cool if you were an artist, a filmmaker, or did some kind of job that was not a mainstream job. So my experience was really like dropping deep into the work of combining, of really looking at yoga and yoga therapy for emotional issues, and then kind of emerging out of, it was like swimming underwater, and emerging to find that suddenly the world was really interested in mind-body things, and then that becoming commodified. And so now I like to track some of that development by looking at the print commercials for pharmaceuticals. And so what you'll notice, and there's one called Prestige, which is an antidepressant, and in this commercial you see a woman who's having a really bad hair day, which I can relate to, and she just is lethargic and depressed. It looks like her clothes are rumpled, and she's looking in the mirror, and in the mirror facing her is this beautiful, like, tall yogini, another version of her, doing tree pose and namaste. And this pharmaceutical company says, don't let your depression keep you from being your fullest self. So suddenly we've gone from this place where yoga for any emotional issue was seen as really, you would be a maverick to do that kind of work. And now the drug companies are actually actively jumping on that bandwagon and really using it to make a deep sort of visceral and emotional appeal to people. So take this antidepressant, so your yoga will be like this. So yeah, I think the idea of marketing something that is so deeply emotional to people, our practice really matters to us. And the idea of using image to sell something that we think we need, that we're not complete as we are, whether it's an antidepressant or something else. And it's not that I think that people shouldn't take antidepressants, it's that I think the way we tell people what to expect from taking one, that it's not a magical journey. Take a pill and you'll have this beautiful holistic existence and wonderful yoga practice.
Well, and certainly practicing yoga and eating good, real food, simple food, and being present when you're eating, and all these things can at the very least perhaps alleviate some of your our issues, or depression, or minimize the drugs we need to take sometimes. Is that true?
That is true, and I love what you're talking about being present, and being present in the process of eating. And I do feel that, I used to specialize in eating disorders and work with a lot of adolescents and young women, and I think there is a sort of hidden shadow aspect of the yoga practice now where...
Oh, here, okay.
Yeah. So this hidden shadow practice of yoga that I would call yogorexia. So, which is that people are doing lots and lots of practice and going on fasts and doing cleanses and trying to shape and mold the body into what seems like the yoga ideal, that you have to be a certain size or look a certain way in clothing. And I think there is a way in which we can appear to be being present and mindful and yogic and holistic.
It's funny you say that, because just today I was blogging up this amazing yoga video with Simon Park in New York City, and I was going through YouTube and selecting the filters, and to find that Simon Park video. It's brand new, I recommend it. But briefly, I was on the most popular yoga videos of all time, and there are two kinds of yoga videos that are most popular of all time. Can you guess what they are? I know guys can guess what one of them are. So one of them is like
naked yoga,
ridiculous women in bikinis doing ridiculous. It's not even really yoga, they're just, and the other is yoga for weight loss, and there's like 5 different videos, yoga for weight loss. Oh, thank you. And I think that's on some level wholesome and natural, and yoga does make us feel more fit and all that. On another level, I love that you pointed out the cleanse thing. We have an article on Elephant called Cleansing is the New Bulimia. And I think there is some sort of unhealthy, we put a nice term on it, but people have this you know, binge and purge kind of attitude toward yoga and toward eating and cleanses and juicing and fasting.
I think it's really important. It's really important to acknowledge where that's coming from when we do those behaviors and what we're going for, and to acknowledge that yoga is not about the process of making better or perfecting or molding ourselves into a shape that we don't already have, or emotionally making us have something we don't have, but it's about self-compassion, self-acceptance, compassion toward others as we are in the moment. And people often say to me, well, how do I know if this cleanse is something I need to be doing, or if, for example, giving up gluten or giving up dairy or soy is something I need to be doing? And I feel that to answer that question isn't something that comes from the head, but something that comes from a very deep and embodied awareness. And that awareness will always tell you if what you're doing is coming from, you know, molding and shaping the ego, or whether it's coming from a very integrated wish to do self-care. Yeah.
Well, I'm afraid we're out of time, but thank you so much, Bo. She's wonderful, so if you haven't checked her out, go Forbes.